Is it possible to prepare for every disaster? There are an endless number of disasters to worry about. I use the word disaster as shorthand for when something bad happens. Disasters include long-term stressors, unexpected emergencies, environmental events, and events of human design. Every disaster is different. There's a saying in disaster recovery, once you've seen one disaster, you've seen that disaster. A single disaster causes different disruptions for different people. For one family, a hurricane might disrupt shelter and power. Down the street, unaffected neighbors are able to open their home to do laundry. But other families might need to evacuate. The next hurricane might not flood your home, but may shut down gas stations throughout half the state. Imagine your disaster preparation list as a phone book. You open the phone book and to your surprise you find the entries sorted by phone number instead of name. That phone book would not be very helpful. Yet our preparation lists are usually organized like this imaginary phone book. We end up with a long, unorganized list of things to buy or do, which may not match our personal needs. We check off the first few items from our list, give up, and hope the zombies eat us first. General advice such as make a plan, build a kit, be informed, get involved, is universally true but not specific enough to be helpful. But specific solutions like pack extra dog food in your 72-hour kit don't apply to everyone. Fortunately, there is a solution. Phone books alphabetize millions of phone numbers by name to make the book easier to use. Likewise, we can organize our preparation strategies by disruption instead of disasters. We can't control disasters, but we have a great deal of power over how we respond to the disruptions they cause. Take any disaster, for example, a wildfire. Wildfires can disrupt power, water, and shelter, require evacuation, and so on. In contrast, a chronic illness will probably not make your roof collapse, but may have significant impacts on your emotional well-being, require medication, and cause financial problems. Assess any other disaster the same way. No matter the disaster, there are only a limited number of disruptions they can cause. Now we are going to change our perspective. Instead of making a list of disasters, we'll make a list of disruptions. Viewed this way, preparing for a few disruptions will prepare you for any disaster. It doesn't matter whether a power outage was caused by a flood, backhoe, or grandma backing into a pole. Just prepare for the power outage. Depending on how you group them, humans have about 14 basic needs. These include water, sewer and sanitation, physical safety, food and cooking, heat and cooling, money and finances, important documents, legal problems, and others. Some of these categories overlap, and that's okay. For example, storing extra medication helps with both medical needs and evacuation. Importantly, people and pets are not disruptions. We prepare to meet the needs of people and pets. Your solutions change with time. Let's take one example, power. To cope with a short-term power outage, I would break out the flashlights and candles, read a book, play a board game, and charge the phone on my car. We would also eat all of the perishable food in the fridge. Ice cream for dinner, kids. You, on the other hand, may have a life-saving medical device that requires power. Your coping strategies would be very different from mine. Regardless, both of our strategies must change if the power outage lasts for weeks. By then, the batteries are dead, the food is rancid, and the kids are bored with the board game. One coping strategy might be for you to travel to your friend's house. Make sure you have more than one strategy so that you can choose an appropriate solution at the time. This basic approach adapts to small businesses, faith communities, schools, and government agencies. They add, subtract, or rename relevant disruptions. Employees have medical, emotional, and spiritual needs, but companies don't. Instead, businesses might prepare for disruptions to intellectual property and rename sheltering to warehousing. Faith communities must prepare for disruptions to volunteers, staff, or ministering. Farmers and ranchers would add livestock as a disruption because to them, animals are resources. How do you know if your list is complete? Gather a group of friends or family. For each disruption, brainstorm solutions. You're already an expert because you know how to meet your basic daily needs and you understand your community. As others share ideas, write down strategies that work for you. Ignore ideas that don't. Preparing together gives you creative solutions and a more complete plan. Preparing together is not only a good way to brainstorm, but also to build relationships. Strong social connections are the last vital component of preparing. Relationships have proven to be more important than 72-hour kits or even working infrastructure. Our families and communities are more resilient when we work together. Likewise, we prepare better when we prepare together. Disruptions can plunge anyone into uncertainty. Disasters are, by their nature, overwhelming. If it isn't overwhelming, it's called an inconvenience, not a disaster. Nobody has unlimited resources, but we can prepare with confidence. When you use this approach and prepare for disruptions with friends, family, and neighbors, you really can prepare for, well, everything. Prepare for disruptions. Prepare together. That's how to prepare for everything.